Welcome back, everybody, to part 2. You all hear me?
Miss Kylie, is this lesson going to be on YouTube as well?
Yes, every lesson will be on YouTube. Are you enjoying it?
Yes and no.
Yeah, it's not a very nice story, isn't it?
It's memories for when our kids are older and they can see this horrible time.
Yeah, but also for you, because you were not alive during the Holocaust. But remember, Anne Frank was in hiding. But we are in lockdown. We cannot leave our house. So although the situation is not exactly the same, we are still at home. We can't go out because of this horrible virus. So we
that's true.
We might not be writing in our diaries about the terrible things.
It's like Hitler was the virus.
Exactly, the virus is Hitler. So we might not be going out and about. And we are learning to pass time because of a virus that is stopping us to go out. Whereas Anne Frank is writing stories in her diary because of a really horrible man. So not the same situation, but we can relate what's to us right now. And being in a house, and Frank being in hiding. So we are hiding from the virus, and she is hiding from horrible. Anyway, let's continue. So we did, in part 1, a very quick summary, which I will read to you one more time, just so that you all understand. In the spring of 1942, Anne's father started furnishing Anne's a hiding place in the attic of his office. The hiding place was very small and cramped, as there were 4 people more hiding with them. So there was 8 people altogether hiding. And everybody always had to be very quiet, and they were afraid to be caught. During the 2 years that they were all in hiding, Anne kept writing in her diary that she got for her 13th birthday. And she wrote about her feelings, she wrote about her thoughts, and she even wrote short stories, as this all helped her to pass time and to stop her from being bored. And in the summer of 1944, Anne and the other people in hiding with her were caught by the Nazis, and they were arrested. The police also arrested 2 people who were helping them by bringing them food and necessities that they needed to live during their time while they were hiding. Nadim.
Miss, was Anne also caught with the other people?
Yes, she was. She was, and I'm going to tell you the story in a minute. Mohammed, you have a question?
Yes. How did the police know that these people were bringing them food and water?
We will find out about that as well in a minute. They were probably caught, or someone told on them. Let's find out. Any more questions before I move on? No. Okay. So the heroic helpers. These people were the people that were helping Anne Frank and the other people in hiding with food, with water, with anything. Now I'm looking for Lucas, because I would like Lucas to pronounce those names to me.
Wait. Meep geese is it in English? But honestly, it would meep geese, toch?
Is meep geese not a Dutch name?
M-E-P-G-E-S. It's a weird name. It might be Mep Guess.
Okay, let's go for
Guess,
Mep
I
Guess.
think, but I'm not sure.
Right, let's go for Mep Guess. So Mep Guess and her husband in the picture in the middle, they were bringing food and they were bringing drink and they were bringing anything that the people in hiding needed, such as food. And they did this at their own risk. If they were caught, they could have been killed. So they did this to help the people hiding, even though they knew that it was an extremely dangerous thing to be doing. Lucas, yes.
I did want to say it is actually Miepjes.
Miepjes. So guys, remember Miepjes and her husband were the people that were helping Anne Frank and the other people in hiding with food, with water, with drinks, with necessities, maybe even medicine, who knows. And Miep died in January 2010, so only 9 years ago she died. Any questions before I move on? Remember that they helped all these people at their own risk. Very kind. But if they were caught, they could have been killed. So, until today, we do not know what took the police to the annex. Even though the video that you watched says, we still don't know the exact reason that took the army or the police to capture these people. Yusuf M.
Dana and Tarek said they're waiting in the waiting room.
No, there's nobody in the waiting room. No, can you see anybody in the waiting room?
Those are the only
Yes.
ones that sees people in the
Dana
waiting
and
room.
Tarek, I've just accepted them. Thank you for letting me know. So even Adam is there. So even after the raid of the police, part of Anne's writing was kept because two of the people who had been helping them took the diary before the annex was emptied by the order of the Nazis. So one of you asked me before, how was the diary found? Well, after Anne Frank and the others in hiding were caught, the people that had been helping them hid the diary and kept it because it was an important piece of information for history, also for investigations to find out what actually happened during this time. Alex? Yes, Alex?
Miss Kylie, I saw her father shared the diary.
Her
The
father
people.
shared it, but the people that were helping them found it. Okay, so the people that were helping them found the diary and kept it. They didn't share it, they just kept it. Yusuf M?
Is the diary now in a museum or with someone specific?
Yes, so the diary now has been published for the whole world to read. But in Amsterdam is the actual museum. Now, I actually wanted to take you guys on a virtual tour of the museum, but when I went onto the website to try and work something out for all of you, it's actually closed at the moment. It's not open, and the live cameras are not showing you around. But as soon as the museum reopens, I will send you links and you can take yourself on a virtual tour of the museum. Nadim?
Is there still the original copy of the diary? Is the original diary still here?
Yes, it's in the museum. The actual diary that Anne Frank wrote is in the museum. But since writing this diary, it has been published for the world to read as a normal book. Now, Lucas, sorry to ask you so many questions.
It's all right.
Have you been to the Anne Frank Museum, or did you know about Anne Frank before you started learning about Anne Frank?
Actually, I never knew about that. That was actually a thing. I only, when you said it now, I am just surprised that it's even in Holland, Amsterdam.
Well, maybe next time you
Wait,
go.
but Miss Kylie, before
Yeah.
you stop, do you know? I don't know. I think this is German, Auschwitz.
Auschwitz is
Right?
in Poland. It was
Oh,
one.
it
Yeah,
sounds like, yeah. Isn't that like a German language as well, or is that Poland?
right. We are going to learn about Auschwitz. Auschwitz is in Poland. It is a German concentration camp, and it is actually where Anne Frank and her family were sent. Some of them were sent to Auschwitz, and it was a horrible, horrible place. Lisa?
Yes, Miss. I have two questions. First one, how did the people that helped the Franks and the other people that lived with were going into hiding with them? How did they know that Anne Frank had a diary?
Well, Anne Frank told them. Anne Frank showed them.
She told everyone about the diary.
In her hiding, yeah, everyone saw her writing in the diary all the time, so it was no secret. But
The second question is, I think Auschwitz was called like that because Germany was Germany like fought with Poland, the first one, so they said do a concentration camp, and they just gave them a name that sounds German.
well done. Good thoughts. Adam?
I want to say something.
Tell me.
Not about the lesson.
Oh, okay.
I finished my worksheet.
Adam?
I finished my work.
Sorry?
I finished my homework.
Oh, good boy, good boy. Come on, let's get on with the lesson, and then you can send me your work because I've been marking everything. Very proud of you, Hatton. So, Anne and everyone who was hiding with her were taken to Auschwitz concentration camp by train, which took 3 days. It was a very long journey. The train was very cramped, and it was stuffed with thousands of other prisoners, also packed tightly into these trains. And there was hardly any food, and there was barely any water to drink. And imagine, if they needed the toilet, there was only a bucket that they could use. There were no toilets. It was very embarrassing. They were treated like animals. They were packed full in these trains, and they were sent on a 3-day journey to Auschwitz with no food or very little food and very little water, and just a bucket in the corner of the carriage if they needed to go to the toilet. Once they arrived in Auschwitz, there was a doctor, and this doctor was checking to see who was healthy enough to be able to do heavy labor, so to do heavy work, be treated like a slave. Unfortunately, around 350 people from Anne Frank's train were taken directly to the gas chamber, and they were killed. So they were taken to a room that was filled with gas, and unfortunately they did not survive. They died from being gassed out. Anne, with her mother were taken to the labor camp for women. So they were taken to a camp where they had to work. And her father, Otto, ended up being taken to a camp only for men. So the women were separated from the men. They didn't get to see their father, and Anne Frank's mum didn't get to see her husband. They were separated when they arrived in Auschwitz. Any questions before I move on? No. Okay, so let's talk about Anne Frank's final days. So this gives you a clue that it was her final days, that Anne Frank didn't survive, did she? And in November 1944, Anne Frank was taken away again, and she was taken to a different concentration camp with her sister Margot. Unfortunately, Anne Frank's parents, they were separated from their parents, and their parents didn't get to go with them. The conditions in this concentration camp were also horrible. They were so bad. They had very little food and they had not enough water. It was also so cold, and it was really, really wet with loads of contagious diseases around. So if somebody was sick, it was so easy for someone else to get sick because the viruses or the diseases, they were contagious and people were so easy to catch them. Both Anne and Margot, her sister, became very sick in February 1945, and they both died. They didn't make it. They got sick. They were hungry, they were cold, they caught something. They could have died from exhaustion, or they could have died from a disease. But this tells you that medical care was also so bad, and unfortunately, both girls died. Anne's father, Otto, was the only one in the family to survive, as well as everyone else who was in hiding. So everybody died apart from Anne's father. So it was extremely sad. Nobody made it. Only Anne Frank's father made it. Lily, you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask, how did like her dad went back to to the hiding place or to his home so he can bring the diary? Like he was in a concentration camp, he couldn't go anywhere.
Okay, so let me explain. Anne Frank's father, Otto, was freed from Auschwitz by the Russians and only found out when he was on his long journey home that his wife had died. And when he arrived back, he also found out then that his two daughters, Margot and Anne, had also died too. So it's incredibly sad. He didn't know what was going on with the rest of his family. The Russians freed all the prisoners from Auschwitz. He started to make his way back home to the Netherlands, hoping he would see his wife and children again. But unfortunately, during his journey, he found out his wife had died. And when he arrived back in the Netherlands, he found out that his daughters had died. So it's really, really a sad story. So in answer to your question, Lily, Otto arrived back in the Netherlands and found that his daughter, Anne Frank, her diary had been kept. It had been saved. And he decided, after reading through it and deciding what he should keep in it and what he should not keep in it, he decided to publish the diary. Remember that at this point, Germany was no longer in control. The Russians freed all the prisoners, and Anne Frank's father, Otto, decided it was time to tell the world what they went through. So I am going to unmute you all. Have we got any questions?
No.
I don't have any.
What do you guys make? Actually, I am
Smiley?
going to mute you all. Put your hands up if you have a question. Lucas said something. Yeah. Yes,
Miss
Lucas?
Kylie, I wanted to say that was the original language from this Dutch actually, or from Holland? Was it? Okay,
It was
because
Dutch.
if it was, then wait, was it readable? Like, was it a different type of language? I mean, like, how they wrote at that time.
All I know was the original version was in Dutch, and it has since been translated into English.
Okay, then.
Well,
I just wanted to know that.
Not just English, it was translated into every language, any language, because a lot of children at school learn about Anne Frank at your age and the Second World War. So if you are in Germany, they'd be learning about the book in German. In France, they'd be learning about the book in French. So this book has been translated into many, many different languages. Now, I have a challenge for you. I hope you can all see the web quest on the screen, and whoever is writing over the screen, please stop it. Before I explain it to you, we have Jana with her hand up. Yes, Jana?
Miss Kylie, on the web quest, do we make a video talking about
I'm going to explain it now, darling. I'm going to explain it to the whole class now. We also have Ellie with his hand up.
I wanted to ask about when Anne Frank's dad, how did he share it with the world? What did he do to do
He took
that?
it to our publishers, he took it to the news, he took it all over the place. Before it was published, these people had to verify that what was written in this book was true. And as soon as people decided, yes, everything written in this diary is true, then it got published. So like now, when somebody writes a news report or when somebody writes a book, it gets published and it gets sent around the world. And also because it was put in the Anne Frank Museum, a lot of people were able to see the diary in an actual hard copy. Right, I have a challenge for you. This is the web quest. You have got 1 week or 2 weeks, I need to check the deadline, to complete this web quest. And the Anne Frank Educational Trust are looking for more people to work in their exhibition that will tour the country telling people about the extraordinary life of Anne Frank. So there is a trust, an educational trust that are telling people about her life, and they are looking for more people to work for them. You have a big interest in Anne Frank, and you would like to join, you would like to have the job, and you need to prepare a presentation about the life of Anne Frank to give at your job interview. So your task, this challenge, you need to find out about the life of Anne Frank. You need to find out about the place where Anne Frank was hiding. You need to find out more about the people who stayed in the secret annex with Anne Frank and the people on the outside who were helping the Anne Frank family. And you need to find out a little bit more about Anne's diary. Lila?
Miss Kylie, is this supposed to be like a poster?
No, I will explain it to you. I'm explaining everything to you, so listen carefully and you will know exactly what to do. So these tasks will help you, the task I've just read you will help you complete your challenge. And you will need to prepare a presentation about the life of Anne Frank. I would like you, as much as possible, to do this as a PowerPoint presentation. If you cannot do it as a PowerPoint presentation, then yes, you can make a poster or on a Word document, but make it eye-catching, make it interesting, and really show me that you have used the internet to research and find more about Anne Frank. Yusuf, you put your hand up and then put it down. Put it up again if you need to ask a question. No. So part 1. Find information from the internet about the secret annex where Anne Frank hid. When you have done some research, either make some drawings or a model, so you can get creative and you can make a model, you can use lollipop sticks, you can use all sorts and create a model showing what it was like inside 263. Lucas, I need your help. How do you say that word? I can't.
What?
How do you say this word? Prinsengracht.
Prinsengracht?
Okay. Prinsengracht. That was the address of where Anne Frank was hiding. So you can make some drawings or you can make a model showing what life was like inside where they were hiding. Part 2. Find out more about the people who stayed in the annex with Anne and the people on the outside who helped the family. I know some of you already know more information because you told me. You told me that Anne Frank had fallen in love with somebody. So that's one piece of information you can add to your presentation. Find information on the internet. People that hid in the secret annex and the people who helped from the outside. Produce a short PowerPoint presentation describing as many people involved in Anne's story as possible. Part 3, find information from the internet about Anne Frank's diary. Once you have done some research, write a short report describing the diary's contents and information the diary may contain. Lila, you had a question?
Miss Kylie, I don't really understand what the homework is.
I'm reading it to you and all the points to do are there.
Yeah, no, but like I know you're reading it to me, but I can't like understand what it is.
There's somewhere else.
Presentation. I will go through it again with you. So you need to have 2 weeks to do this. These are the instructions. You have part 1, part 2, part 3, and you have part 4. Okay, you need to follow every part carefully to put together a presentation for me about Anne Frank. Part 4 is to put the whole thing together and prepare a presentation about the life of Anne Frank to give at your job interview.
Harder work
Lucas?
than other. Yes.
Sorry, I thought you put your hand up.
No, I didn't. I was just showing my dad something.
Oh,
Telling
okay.
my dad.
So your presentation, your final presentation should be filmed. Get someone at home to film you giving your presentation. And you can give your presentation in various ways. You can do this by using pictures and work to show your audience. And you need to make sure that you talk about your pictures. You know what you were talking about. You need to make sure that you are talking about the model you have made or any other extra work that you have created. You can also give your presentation by using a PowerPoint in order to show your ideas, or you can talk about the models that you have made. So be creative, make a 3D model and present it. Or you can give your presentation by mixing all of these things together. And this is how you will be graded. There is a table here with everything you need to be able to include in your presentation. Now, I expect all of you to be aiming for level 3. So everything in the column of level 3 is what I would like to see. This is your assessment. There is no exam. This is what I will be assessing you on and handing into school as a grade for your history. So guys, follow the guidelines really carefully, and in the column of level 3, just make sure that you have answered everything that is written on that column. Now, to help you, I have listed plenty of websites that you can look at to help you get information for your presentation. If you find any more information from places or websites that I have not mentioned in the links on that page, please write somewhere the links that you have used on the last slide of your PowerPoint if you are using a PowerPoint, or list them on a Word document, or somewhere you need to record these extra websites you have used. Now, I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not. Read this information carefully and it will tell you exactly what to do. And you actually have 2 weeks to do this, so don't rush in a week, don't rush in a day. You have 2 weeks. Pace yourself, and every day just do a little bit. And it's so interesting. I think you will actually really enjoy it. Alex, you have a question?
So, is it due after 2 weeks?
Yes, so this is due in 2 weeks from today. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions? No? Wow, normally I have hundreds of questions from you all. Lila.
So Miss Kylie, do we get to like sculpt something?
So do we just like make a presentation
Yeah,
about Anne Frank? That's it? The presentation?
Yeah,
But do
exactly.
we have to make a model and a presentation, or just a presentation?
No, you do it in the way you want it. I said that you could be creative and make a model and talk about the model. You could do a PowerPoint and talk through the slides of your PowerPoint. Or you could make just loads of different posters, but you have to be able to talk about
And
every.
then we make a video about us like talking about it.
Then you need
It's easy.
video of you doing your presentation and send it to me.
But Miss Kylie, I don't understand. We're making a model?
No, it's
you
your
can do
choice.
PowerPoint, a model, anything.
You can do a PowerPoint.
Posters.
You can do posters. Anything you like in order to tell me about what you know about Anne Frank answering all the questions. I'm actually excited because I know how creative some of you actually are. Hatem, tell me.
When is the end of the lesson?
In 3 minutes.
When will the lesson end?
In 3 minutes. Yusuf. No one else has a question for me? All right, guys. So, the national students, good luck with your project. If
National students have a test?
No, they have a project due into the government in a week.
Wait, what? I didn't know that nationals have a project to do for the government.
They do. They have a big project to do by
Only in Arabic? Just Arabic?
only the national students, and it's very important for them. Really
How
important.
does it determine if they go to year 6?
Yeah, that's true.
Miss,
Yeah.
can you just tell to the foreign people that not like always they can you tell them not always to like chat on the group, because like we try to focus and we don't.
Yes, guys. Please respect the national students. They have a lot of work to do, and what they are doing is so important that you really need to respect that they need to focus in every lesson, because they really have an effect to finish. Okay, and Nadim is right. You guys can't keep interrupting over them. They really, really need to focus. And I know how much work they have to do. I've seen. Okay, everybody?
Yeah.
So I am super excited to see your presentations. Remember that you are aiming level 3.
What is it?
Okay.
Wait, I'm just gonna.
Okay, everybody, I love you all. I miss you all. And I will see you tomorrow for your spelling dictation. Oh, no one's talking to me.
Oh, sorry.
I said bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.